This is the fifth state coming to you from the Fortal School of Government in Nairobi, Kenya, and Professor Mutahingunyi. This Sunday, we will explain the dance between Kenyans and Ruto and why they dislike him. At the core, Kenyans suffer from a disease known as multiple personality disorder. Let me explain. In 2022, Kenyans hated Uhuru Kenyatta with a passion. They called him Jaden, Wama Johi, Wama Shati. Then they told him, Maliza uende. Uhuru left State House with his head down, a defeated man. The nation had bullied him beyond. Today, Uhuru is our hero. Everyone wants to kiss and hug the son of Jomo. They think he's a teddy bear, and his sins have been forgiven. In 2022, Kenyans loved Ruto like a nonsense. Today, Kenyans are brooding in acidic pessimism and negativity towards him. This is the personality disorder at the core of our nation. And even if we elect Matiang'i in 2027, Kenyans will hate him more than Ruto. They will call him Mtu Mfupi Mnono Round. And because Matiang'i is a sensitive man, he will cry a river in horror. This is how nasty Republic 254 has become. But there's one more thing. Does Matiang'i believe he can become president using a World Bank salary? Or maybe Uhuru and Raila will finance his campaign? And to this, we say zero. If Matiang'i could not make Raila president in 2022, how will he make himself president in 2027? In 2022, he had Uhuru, Raila, state machinery, and government funding. Yet, he failed. What will make him successful in 2027? A World Bank salary?
Kenyans suffer from a second disease. It is called neuro comprehension. Neuro refers to the brain, and comprehension refers to understanding. When a fresh idea is introduced to the brain, it takes some time to understand it. And before the idea is understood by the brain naturally fights it. And that is how God created us. But why is Kenya in a state of neuro comprehension, a state of pessimism and acrimony towards Arab Ruto? To be honest, if we were not in this state, we would be like Ugandans. But Kenyans, we love to keep it real. There are two reasons why Kenyans have not understood William Ruto. One, he is an outsider who became president. He was never part of the elite club that governed Kenya for 60 years. This club is made up of house niggers, people who were groomed by the colonizers, then given power. But Ruto is a field nigger, a chicken seller from the fields of Sugoi. And because we have been led by dynasties since independence, our minds cannot comprehend how this outsider called William Ruto became president. Here's the second reason. Vilfredo Pareto taught us the theory of elite circulation. He taught us that there are two types of elites, the lions and the foxes. Every so often, the lions are replaced by the foxes in the hunting fields. The lions rely on sheer force, but the foxes rely on cunningness and adaptability. In 2022, the lions were overthrown by the foxes, and for 60 years, Kenya has not been led by a fox, a cunning and adaptable president. This is why we are having a brain glitch.
But Kenyans suffer a third disease. It is called libido dominandi, and this disease is peculiar to Kikuyus. Libido dominandi is an urge to dominate. For Kikuyus, it is the presidency or nothing. If they don't have it, every government in power is bad. And this is how they drove Mzee Moi into becoming a dictator. The urge to dominate could only produce a lion leader who relied on force. But Ruto is different. He is a fox who relies on cunning and adaptability. And because Kikuyus have never been led by a fox, they must learn how to read him and come down from their pessimism. In the theory of war, we have two types of approaches: attrition and maneuver. Attrition is about decimating your enemy completely, but maneuver is about collapsing the moral and mental capabilities of your opponent using minimal force. The lions use attrition and force, but the foxes use maneuver and cunningness. Dear Kikuyus, your libido dominandi has been a problem to the Republic of Kenya. And if Ruto is a fox who uses maneuver instead of force, he will collapse your moral and mental capabilities slowly. You booed him in Embu, and that was not necessary. You showed him disrespect even after he had given you half of his cabinet. No president in Kenya has ever been booed. When the Luos booed Jomo Kenyatta in Kisumu in 1966, he opened fire and killed hundreds of them. He was an attritionist, but Ruto is a fox. He uses maneuver, and instead of brooding in pessimism, Kikuyus should spend time studying this great man.
If Ruto is a fox, cunning and adaptable, here are some questions to the nation. Why did Ruto cancel the Adani deal? Was it because of public pressure as suggested by some lazy media? Or was he playing a game or maneuver? Did he do it to collapse the moral and mental capabilities of his opponents? Was he playing the cunning fox in parliament? And the answer is a resounding yes. Now the protesters have nothing to protest against him, and the public that suffers from a multiple personality disorder is completely confused. But there's one more thing. To understand the mind of a fox, you must listen to what he is not saying. And I'll single out two things he said but did not say in his State of Nation address. And for the record, I think he had a sterling performance in Parliament. One, he rebuked the DPP for withdrawing cases higgledy-piggledy or hovyo-hovyo. Yes, and if Gachagwa's case was withdrawn by the DPP, what does this rebuke point to? It's a big question here. This Rigiman should worry. And here I'm guided by a doctrine in power politics that states, to my friends, everything, and to my enemies, the law. Number two, Ruto defended the broad-based government in a foxy way. But if Raila is already in it, why talk about it with romance in Parliament? And this is how you read a foxy mind. He was not talking about Raila. He was actually talking about Uhuru Kenyatta. In my considered view, Ruto and Uhuru have already reconciled. And the broad-based government will include Uhuru's men as well. The reason why, therefore, we are misreading Ruto, and suffering from neuro comprehension is very simple. He is a fox, but we are analyzing him as a lion.